Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives. It is I, the mayor, hanging out in the mayor's office with someone who I met in one sphere, but has transcended to so many other spheres. Give it up for Humza Mania, brother. Humza, how you doing?
What's up, Flo Beto? I didn't hear the theme song at the beginning. I'm very disappointed. I know it's a different podcast, but man, how are you doing? Mayor now? Key to the city?
Yeah, you're the only person that likes that theme song. Everyone else is like, what is this?
All you need is that one fan, man. All you need is that one fan. Take you straight to the moon.
So dumb. I don't know why I had that song made. But yeah, Key to the City, man. It's a city for creatives. If you have an idea, you are a citizen of New Amsterdam. That's kind of the deal.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Very clever.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about cleverness, my boy. Like, look at that. That's a transition I'm talking about. When I first met you, it was due the auspices of hosting, but I was told that you're a comedian. So I think of you as a comedian first, but you're doing way more than that. So the question I have is that if you're at a party, what do you tell people? And they say, what do you do?
Oh, man, I've actually switched to the word performer now. Performer and producer, because it's like the easiest way to encompass everything. I honestly feel like everything I'm doing is kind of in the same realm of stuff. It's just different avenues, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you're a financial advisor, right, and I financially advise Bank of America or TikTok, it's two completely different companies, but almost the same thing you're doing in each. So I guess I could explain myself as a performer and a producer.
You don't go into details of what you actually perform. You just go performer.
They will when they ask follow-up questions, right? Like imagine going to a party and be like, hey guys, I'm Humza. I'm a comedian, podcaster. I'm a pro wrestler. I'm also a manager in pro wrestling. I also produce pro wrestling shows, commentary and refereeing. Like it's going to sound a little pompous and a little stupid. So there's a certain things that I do to open up that conversation. If they want to talk more about it, we can go more in depth.
Oh, I like it. I say live entertainment professional. I like the way you say it. I'm a performer.
Performer.
Yeah.
That's
Book
what
me whenever.
Book me whenever. Whatever you need me to perform for, I'll be there. Birthday parties, weddings. Actually, I'm going the wrong route now. Now I'm trying to be you and Jack Farmer with the DJing services.
Yeah, that's where the money's at. But do you still consider yourself a comedian? Because it feels like you don't do that as much these days.
Yeah, it's Corona has stopped my comedian momentum big time because there's not been many shows, and God, virtual shows were just so awful. Thank you to everyone that supported though. Like people really try to support, but if it's just so like. Someone would talk, say a joke, it would cut out halfway. Someone would start laughing, then you hear like air in the background. So it didn't hit for me. So I kind of pulled back from comedy. I've been getting some emails about new shows coming up and whatnot. I'm just gonna wait a little bit longer until we're able to have like full crowds because it's just not fun with like 8 people in the audience who are afraid to laugh or whatever it is.
So can we talk about that for a second? Because
Please.
we have to, man. Because I was like, well, Corona's coming. I'm not going to do any comedy. But then you had a comedy show. I'm like, oh man, Humza never asked me to do anything. Let me step up. And it was an awkward experience telling a joke in my living room. Not even headlining in my living room. I had to go on like next to last and have people with their mics off, their cameras off. It's a whole different thing, man. But I thought you loved it.
I love the turnout we had, right? I love that. My biggest nerves were coming from, can I produce a comedy show? Will it be successful monetarily, right? Like financially, would it be successful for us? Can I hit a certain goal I'm trying to reach? It was more of a proving to myself I could put something together and have quality acts. Unfortunately, I think the show would have done wonderful. I think the show would have done wonderful with the lineup we had if it was live, right?
Okay.
It's like live shows, just like you go to Broadway, you go to Cirque du Soleil, and they don't let you videotape it because it's not the same as being there, interacting with the crowds and playing and feeding off of them. Same with wrestling. Comedy, we need that laughter. We need to be able to react off people because if they're not feeling it, we need to know that so we can switch our comedy. We can switch the direction we're going. It's not all like pre-rehearsed. So I thought it was successful financially. Yes. Everyone was very generous. People were very much happy to support all of us, which I loved. However, the show itself, if I was to just grade that show, it didn't turn out as nice as I wanted it to.
Oh, you gotta give yourself props for even trying to build a platform despite a global pandemic, man. Like that takes ingenuity and props to that. And you always heard about that resourcefulness, the American dream, if you will.
Thank you.
But the other side of Humza, man, I'm on the Instagrams. I'm checking you out, man. I see the Facebook post. You are a professional wrestler, not someone who's a fan, not someone who talks about their buddies. You actually take the bumps. Question: why?
Well, here's the thing. I love professional wrestling. I love live performances in general. And out of all the aspects out there, whether it's comedy or even stage plays and stuff, pro wrestling seems to be the most that it comes on the most. It has the most availability for platforms for you to perform. It has many different angles you can go, whether it's serious or comedy or sadness or aggression or tell a story, right? So I absolutely love the wrestling world because of that, and I love pro wrestling in general. Now, I don't want to be somebody that comes into a venue and there's these wrestlers, these big guys who are beating themselves up, putting their bodies through hell to put on these performances, and then I take away their spotlight by just coming in and telling jokes and just being that guy that doesn't go through that pain and that kind of like, training, if you will. So out of respect for them, I decided that I want to also get in the ring and train. It hurts. I can't. I'm not even built for this. I feel like sometimes, but
Yeah.
I like to be there with them so they could have that respect level of if I'm going to take away from their spotlight, I want to give back somehow, some way. So if they ever need to
Yeah.
do something with me in the ring, I'm there. Show me what I can do. Tell me the bumps I could take. What moves you want to give? What moves you want to take? I'm all there. Like I want to really, really make sure I have every avenue open to deliver the best performance I can.
How did your friends and family? Yo, I'm going to do it at a wrestling school. They're like, oh hell yeah, Humza. They're like, what?
No, they think I'm an idiot for many reasons. Like the lack of support from my friends and family. My siblings, however, are acting different because they've known me since I was a kid, and all I've ever done is wrestling, this, and that. Everything has
Yeah.
revolved around wrestling. I had my own backyard wrestling promotion I did, so they
Wow.
know that this is something I enjoy doing. Everyone else is like, doesn't make sense. You're smart, so you could do this. You're funny, so you could continue comedy. You could do X, Y, and Z. Hosting, you're good. You're a mouthpiece. But the passion and love I get out of it, it's like wrestling makes me excited, And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be an American if I wasn't pursuing my happiness.
That's definitely true. Life, liberty, and pursuit. So the
Mhm.
question I have for a lot of people like that decide to jump despite the lack of support is what pushed you then? If you couldn't lean on like the friends and family, what made you go, no, this is something I have to do. I gotta try it out. I gotta somehow get hit in the face for a living.
So along with my family, I was the same person in my head saying, you can't really do this. So
Yeah.
I decided, you know what? Let me at least reach out to any place that'll let me at least take a bump in the ring and just see how it feels. I really wanted to see how it felt. I wanted to know what it felt like to fall in that ring. So I reached out to Rikishi's school here, Rikishi and Reno's school here in Van Nuys, Knox Pro, and they invited me down for free one day. I went down, I checked it out. It was Rikishi was there, Miro was there from AEW, and they're basically like, let's see what you got me in the ring, had me do a few rolls and stuff, and I just really enjoyed how I felt at the end of it. I was hurting, but I enjoyed how I felt at the end of it. So
Yeah.
naturally I signed up and I said, let's see where this is go. I want to be able to prove to myself and everyone else out there that I can do this if I wanted to do this.
Were you an athlete before, or is this definitely some more of a wish fulfillment thing?
No, I mean, they keep asking that too because they're like on your bio and stuff. What did you for athleticism, or what kind of sports did you play and stuff? And
Yeah.
honestly, I was just an active kid growing up. I like to
Yeah.
be outdoors. I like my trampoline. I practiced a lot of stuff on that. So a lot of the falling and stuff, the not the technique, but the feeling of it was already there because I used to jump and fall on my back on my trampoline and do flips and stuff. So never an athlete, but surprising myself on a daily basis of different things I can do, different things I'm capable of, which makes me a lot happier because I've always been this guy. I've never
Yeah.
been like this guy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The brain guy stuff, the wrong guy. So
Yeah.
when I was a kid, SmackDown was my favorite show because I didn't have cable, right? So
Yeah.
I got free wrestling every week. And
UPN.
yeah, you know how it is. The throwback. Everybody hates Chris, yo. And I remember seeing Rikishi out there, doing the dancing, doing the stink faces and things like that. But fast forward a couple of years, I was scrolling through Facebook, and Rikishi is like bawling, just tearing up that he's able to work with you and call you part of the family. And I like to say that, hey, look, I know I'm with the in crowd. So like, imagine the world gets so much smaller. What's that like for you? I mean, you actually get to like interact with someone that we grew up with.
Yeah, I mean that's the crazy part. At first, it was surreal. Like I would get a text message, and just like a 13-year-old girl, I'd be like, "Oh my god," he texts me, and then I would have to sit there and think through my text messages. Don't say something stupid. Don't say something off. Make sure it makes sense, right? But now it's just like it's a friendship now. It's more of like he's a mentor. Obviously, he's like my dad. He calls himself my dad all the time. So it's almost like it's just so natural. It's just he's a cool guy. He
Yeah,
loves his students. If he sees something in you, he's gonna try to polish that up for you. Whether there's so many people that like sometimes I feel like people are disrespectful towards him, and he
yeah,
still tries to help them out. He still tries to give them opportunity. He still brings them back in. So he's just a genuine guy. I think anyone at Knox Pro will get the same access to him. It's
yeah.
just that you got to be able to take it and use it to your advantage, but at the same time, don't take advantage.
Oh, absolutely. Don't take advantage. Be a kind person, I guess.
Yeah,
For a lot of people who are listening to Amsterdam Radio, they usually have a day job and they try to take their spare time into what they pursue. But a lot of
right.
times that mentality comes with like almost like a alter ego, right? Like a Batman Bruce Wayne type deal. But your pursuit in wrestling is actually character based. Like
Yes.
talk to me about the character. How'd you lead into it? How's it different than
Ooh.
how you are now? Usually, like what's the nuance there?
It's crazy because a lot of people don't know me as that character, right? This evil kind of an asshole guy who has all this money, and he's a kind of a coward at the same sense, where I have these big guys backing me up so I can talk all my shit and run away. It's my favorite thing to do. Realistically speaking, it's funny that people look at this and they get all confused because I'm this happy, jokey person in real life. But honestly speaking, that person that's like an internal character of mine, right? It's an internal thing that I always kind of been. It's just exaggerated to the tops, to the nines, if you will.
Yeah,
So it sounds like kind of stupid, but it's like in order for you to portray any character, I feel like you have to go into yourself and pull something out that's already there. And
right.
realistically, the and I said this to Kishi too, the Humza Mania character you see, the smiles and the oh my god, da, 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 that's more of a character I created so I can be more presentable in this in the mainstream area, right? But
Right.
realistically speaking, that asshole you see on every Tuesday on Powerbomb on Twitch, that's the guy that's inside of me, and I
Yeah.
just bring it out to the nines.
Well, I remember in the process of I won't expose the business here. But I remember the process of you really honing the craft, trying to figure out which elements to pull from, like how he stood, how he prayed, all that thing was the things we think about, the nuance of the character. But
Yep.
the question I have for you: when you do something so well and so long, does that character bleed into you normally? Do you become the Steve Urkel when you go out to the grocery store? You know what I'm saying? Or does it become one giant person?
Yes, from the moment setup of production starts to the moment we leave, I start becoming an asshole to everybody around me. I shit on the ref. I talk crap to the wrestlers, and I really get people riled up, and it makes for a better show. Like the characters are so much fun to me, but it's also fun when you really live and breathe that character. So when we do that, it also ends up everyone else starts playing their character in the and backstage area. So we start building up this animosity, this steam. So when we hit the curtain, it's already there. It's not a
Yeah.
switch we have to turn on. It's already there. Then we get to the ring and we interact with each other, and then we give hugs afterwards. So to me, it's one of those things where as soon as I get there, I turn on completely, and if I don't, then my energy is going to go down. I'd rather keep it up.
So if someone's never saw wrestling before, how would you describe your character then?
Oh, just a very wealthy person who purchases protection around him whilst talking shit to everybody and getting people riled up. There you go.
I love it, man. As someone that's trying to navigate this new era of representation, is there any kind of pressure to represent a certain portrayal of people of your culture?
Yes, and this is the biggest struggle I go with. So I have an accent on the show, and one of the things a lot of myself along with a lot of Pakistanis don't like is that we always get portrayed with an accent. There's always an accent. And if you're listening to me talk right now, I don't have a Pakistani accent. I sound American.
You sound
So
Floridian, actually. That's something.
Floridian. It's like y'all know this is how I sound, and
I'm gonna go to Publix.
how do you know about Publix?
Yeah, those subs, baby. You know what's up.
It's to me is we want to be a little bit more portrayed outside of the regular stereotypes that you see, and we want to be shown as everyday things that we do. Like Mustafa Ali, for example, does that pretty well in my opinion. He's just a guy on TV. He's not a Muslim guy on TV. He's not a Pakistani guy on TV. He's a wrestler, right? And that's what you know him first and foremost as. His character has nothing to do with Pakistan and nothing to do with Islam or religion.
Yeah,
So that's, and my thing is I have to put my foot in the door first. So I always introduce myself in what they expect, right? Same with comedy. When they
yeah.
first see us, they physically have a notion in their head. So we got to explain that notion. And then we got to break that character and we have to start slowly showing them who we really are. And that's how people fall in love, in my opinion, right? They get to know you on a personal level. And I would like to show that because you see this person in front of you, once you get to know them, we're just like everybody else. And I want to create that connection, hopefully in the future, if I can.
Yeah, not to make this a wrestling podcast, but how'd you feel about the reversal, I guess, in Apollo Cruz's case, going from more presentable to being more ethically based?
I loved it. I loved it. And here's why I loved it. It's because one, they explained a little bit of a story about how Apollo didn't want to, get rid of his accent stuff, but he did it to fit in there, and that's why he wasn't getting anywhere. So he embraced his own culture, he embraced his own race, and that's how he's getting to the top,
Yeah.
which gives a little bit. It's not like Kofi's situation where he just lost the accent,
Right.
and I loved it. But to be honest, that's exactly why I picked up an accent on my show. Kishi was telling me over and over again, and I was kind of fighting it. I was like, no, I don't want to. I want to talk normal. And then the one promo I cut with the accent, with the languages in it, ended up being the most over thing that I've done.
Yeah.
So there's a method to the madness, right? There's a character that you can build around it, but at the same token, you got to keep in mind what direction you want to go and make sure you lead into that direction. And that's what I'm trying to think of long term.
Oh,
Appreciate Apollo though, but man, that because of his accent change and the way he did it, that's
yeah.
the reason I started doing it too.
For those of us who don't know about the wrestling arts and sciences, Apollo is embraced a Nigerian character, much like his heritage. So that's kind of the thing there. But I see you flying back and forth, man, being bi-coastal, making things happen on both sides of the United States. How has your experience been, especially in the past year, about two different interpretations of normal life, the pandemic, all of that, as you've been making your travels?
Dude, if I first and foremost, I want to thank Delta Airlines. Man, Delta Airlines. I don't know about y'all, but I've flown on so many different airlines that I canceled each one of them each time I fly. Delta has been so consistent for me. So if y'all are listening, Delta, send me some free tickets or something. I don't know, but I love you guys. Thank you. To be honest, it's thrown me for a loop. It's been rough being back and forth because when I'm not in LA, my LA stuff kind of stops falling apart a bit, and I'm in Orlando trying to get stuff together for my parents and my family, but also be in that environment. Then when I come back, I got to fix this stuff, and then by the time I'm here, my dad's needing things there. So it gets a little disheartening because when I do come back, there's like 3-4 days of like my mental is completely off, and it just doesn't want to do anything, and jet lagged and all that stuff. But it's just things that I have to get done in order to make everything happen. There's a culture part of me that I have to take care of because it's just family, and that's just how we grow up. And my parents don't have anyone else. So I gotta be there to help them out when they need it, help them with the house, things around the house, things like that. But same token, I gotta make my life happen too. And like I told Keish, I wish that Florida and California could just be merged together so I don't have to fly 5 hours back and forth each time,
Yeah. How was that during the pandemic, though? Was that more difficult with just the protocol, the cultural things, or?
No, actually, the pandemic made travel easier because there was no one flying. So went through the airport every time 5 seconds, and then all the seats were blocked off. So you had like a whole row to yourself, and then the ticket was like $18. I had to fly the plane myself, but the ticket was $18. But it's
Spirit Airlines, y'all.
now I try to look up tickets because I'm trying to go to New York to see my niece, and they're like $600-700. I'm like, all right, they're playing me. But traveling was not bad. It's just that the landing and getting into the zone of things that is what got to me.
A couple months ago, I guess almost a year ago, you were on my sister's show, What's Up Local After Hours, and I asked you this question, but I ask you again a little bit later than that. Do you consider yourself a success? Why or why not?
Oh, do I consider myself a success? Yes and no. Yes, to my personal self, that I've been able to do things that I've always dreamed about doing, and I try to go out there and at least put my effort into it. And I give myself a lot of kudos for that because most people won't get on stage and try comedy, won't get behind a camera and do hosting. They won't jump into a ring and take a bump, right? So with that being said, I'm just happy that I got a chance to try it at least to know if it's for me or not. No, in the sense of I want to have a bigger influence when I get there. So until I'm able to help my people have like an identity on screen that could be like, oh, he's Pakistani and he wears this, so I can wear this, or he talks like this, so I can do this, right? A little bit of representation. That's going to be my biggest success, is when I'm able to be that guy on TV for anyone, or get someone else that's Pakistani on screen instead, to where they can deliver that message. But either way, someone's got to be there.
Well, that's a good point. Is there anything left on the bucket list, I guess, the things you want to accomplish, or?
No, I got, dude, I got to tell myself to stick to one thing at this point. So I got to put my efforts into everything that I'm doing right now. With wrestling, we have a live show coming up July 17th. It's a humongous card. It's one of our first live shows. We're also in talks of going back to the Philippines, which we were supposed to do for a tour there. So there's a lot going on when it comes to that. I'll do stand up as it comes, but right now I want to put all my eggs into one basket and kind of see where that goes.
So usually the cliche question that podcast people ask is, "Do you have any advice?" And whatever. But I'm gonna do that a little bit on the head though. For someone that does a lot of things, when they tend to be very disparate, it's not like you're a writer, an editor, a copywriter. You're like wrestling, you're comedy, you're doing character work. What do you do? How do you push yourself through those days? What advice do you have for someone else in days you're not feeling it, when you just want to have a break? Your brain wants a day off, but your body knows it has to go. What makes you push on?
That's the thing. I don't. I take
Okay.
that day. So I feel like if you feel like your brain doesn't want to do it, it's not in the mood. It's getting to you. It's getting too much. I take that day for myself, because one thing I realize is I could output a lot of things that I want to do. I could output a lot. But once I get depleted to zero, my outputs are not up to quality like the way I want them to be. So better than to produce some crap and say, here's crap for you guys. I decide to take that day off, because if you're tuning in, man, the way I look at it is, if you're sitting there and watching even 5 minutes of my stand-up, you could be doing something else. So the least I'm going to do is entertain you, or try to entertain you to the best of my abilities, because I think it's pretty messed up to be like, oh, I'm not feeling it today, so you're going to get what you're going to get.
Yeah. Take the day. Dang.
Take the day.
Drop the mic right there. Yo, Humza, so glad you rolled with us this afternoon, New Amsterdam Radio. If someone want to check you out, stalk you, see all your videos, how they go about doing that?
Humza_Mania. So Humza, HUMZA_Mania, MANIA. That's on Instagram and Twitter. On YouTube, I don't have a page for myself, but anything Knox Pro. Knox Pro is KNOKXPRO. On YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, you'll see me on their programs.
Is it what, every week's a show, and then a preview every month?
Every Tuesday is the live show at 7:30 p.m. PST, so Pacific time, 10:30 on the East. And then the live shows we're gonna start doing, it will be our pay-per-views every month, and we always book some great talents. I mean, we've had RVD on before, Rey Mysterio. We got Vampiro booked for the 17th, so it's gonna be a great time.
Wait, what's Vampiro doing? Is he wrestling?
Shh.
Oh, we can't say that.
He's on the flyer.
Yeah, he's on the flyer. Okay. You guys are Radio Podcast for Creative Humza Mania. Make sure you check him out, follow him. You know the deal.